Hi there, friends. I'm Scott Wakefield, lead pastor at First Christian Church of Greene County, and I am here today with
Crista
and Carl Larson,
and we are going to have a coffee convo. Coffee Convos is a chance to hear about the work of God in the lives of our friends, and so you guys qualify. Congratulations. You're friends. So let us begin with who are you and where are you from and why are you here, and whatever part of all that feels like that answers the question. Go for it.
Okay, I'll start. We are the Larsens, Carl and Crista. We arrived in Greene County about 4 years ago.
Okay.
It's a difficult question to answer when people asked us why we came here. But 4 years in, we can say now that this is just where God brought us to be.
Yeah.
I grew up in Wisconsin. Carl grew up in Iowa. We lived in Minnesota for a while. Then we moved to Colorado and we're there for 18 years.
That's right.
And from Colorado, we moved here.
So, 5 different states, is that what you just named? Of those 5 states, why is Tennessee the best one?
It's not Minnesota.
But yes, it's not Minnesota.
So the 4 that are the best ones are not Minnesota? Because that's cold.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We lived there one time. It was 46 below zero actual temperature, and it was we're glad to be from there.
Yeah. We came here from Chicago,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I remember one time in undergrad, it was negative 75 with the wind chill
Yeah,
once.
it's crazy.
And
We don't miss that, that's for sure.
no,
Yeah.
no. So we're glad you all are here. Glad God brought you here. What did
Me
you
too.
think were your reasons for being here from Colorado? That may not have necessarily been, well, yeah, you know what I'm asking.
Well, I'll let Carl explain that. He had what we call the old Chicago moment.
Yeah. So, yes, just so the restaurant, Old Chicago,
Oh,
was
yeah.
out there.
Uh-huh.
And so my girls and I would always, for father-daughter dance, we would go there before. And it was kind of a tradition. We went every year. And then one year, they had just opened one up, probably, 2 blocks from our house. It was very close. And it had only been open for about 2 weeks. We went there, couldn't find a place to park. Everything was just really busy.
It's because of those garlic pepperoni knots that they have on the buffet bar.
Yeah. And
That's what I remember about it.
And so, go up there to get a seat. It was going to be a 2-hour wait. And again, this place had been open for 2 weeks. And just like, we're done. I'm ready to move.
It's
that
too
was
much.
it, yeah. And we had been talking
the
about
pace, the busyness, the
Yeah, and then, in Denver at that point, people had been moving in they were averaging 750 people a day for multiple years. It was just, and you could just see traffic was getting terrible. It was getting very expensive.
Yeah.
Just, we wanted something different. We for a long time, we wanted a more rural lifestyle that we were looking for.
It was what we would talk about when we went out on dates.
Uh-huh.
We would talk about, let's look at this area. Let's think about this. Let's
Yep.
dream about what it could be. And here we are,
Yes.
living the dream.
That's good. That's cool. When my wife and I go on our date nights, somehow it always comes around to my wife at some moment will say something to the effect of, so if we inherited $1 million, it's this game that she throws out of nowhere, like, if we inherited a bunch of money somehow and, we could someday maybe retire, what would we do? That's our version of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So how did you guys meet? Tell us about you all.
Ooh. We
And
met,
what the Larsens, how that happened.
we met in high school.
Yeah.
I had moved from Wisconsin to Minnesota and had started that year. I guess we were in 10th grade.
Yeah.
And then Carl moved there that next March.
Yeah,
So he
we had
was-
about a month left of school when I moved up from Iowa.
Yeah. So he was the new kid in school, and I was smitten. I was smitten. We
I have a
didn't
good
see.
volleyball game. That's what.
Yes. Yeah, we actually did meet playing volleyball. We both signed up for the intramural team, and we played volleyball together. And
Cool.
yeah, the next
And
year.
here we are.
Yeah, next year we started dating, and
Really,
Yep.
in high school.
Yep.
And so,
Yep.
good stuff.
I went away to college. Carl stayed home and studied, and
Yeah.
we just kept in contact. And
Yeah.
And 5 days ago was our 26th anniversary.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very
Mhm.
nice.
Yeah.
26.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. We have 25 coming up in a bit. So, tell us about your kids.
We have 3.
Yeah.
Audrey is 17, soon to be 18, which is very, very frightening.
It's crazy
Yes.
how quickly you get to this place where you
Yes.
realize,
Yeah.
theoretically, they're leaving me, and I have been such a terrible parent in these ways. It's suddenly, I don't know about y'all, but for me, it's like a switch happened, and then I suddenly realized we didn't do this, I didn't do this, we failed in this way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I feel like
definitely.
there's some things we need to catch up on.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
It feels like that time's gone
Yeah.
quickly. I asked my son, who probably is going to watch this, and be like, "Oh, great, Dad." Earlier today, I texted him like 3 times because he had some school work to do, and I was like, "Well, I'm going off to the coffee shop to do some work. You want to come join me?" And no, well, maybe. So later on, a couple more. You coming? And like 3 different times, he's like, "No, fine." I'm like, oh, I only have 1 more year with you.
Right.
Oh.
Sorry, y'all.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
But yeah,
okay.
you feel
Yeah.
that way about it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sorry.
And then after that, we have Amelia. She's 2 years younger. She's 15.
Are you having to think about the
Yes.
ages
Yeah.
now?
Well,
Mhm.
we planned it 2 years apart, and we
Yeah,
actually did very
yeah,
well.
yeah.
So, and Charlie's 13.
Yeah, Charlie's 13.
So-
So all teenagers all the time.
Is that the subtitle? Carl and Crista Larson.
Yeah.
All
It is right
teenagers
now.
all the time.
It is right now.
And
Absolutely.
for several more years.
Yeah.
What has been most surprising about parenting teens? Most difficult?
How emotional it is.
Mm.
I
For
was a-
you, for
yes,
them?
for me. I was a pro at being a mom of young kids. I could do all the things.
Yes, yes.
I could keep a clean house and run them all over and
Right.
put them in their car seats. And I mean, I was really good at that part.
And they desired to do those things.
Yes, they
that
wanted to
you
please
asked
mommy.
them to do and told them to do. Right, right.
Yes.
And they came along
Yes.
and thought, well, this is what I do as a
Yes.
kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now it's changed.
Yeah.
We're glad that they have a mind of their own and
Sure.
they can voice their opinions, but sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. Because that is one of the most surprising things.
Mm-hmm.
Because I used to think, man, I can't wait till we're out of diapers because it costs so much and you have to spend so much time. Like
Right.
if you take your eyes off this little thing for 2 seconds,
Right.
you're like, I'm a terrible parent, and it takes a lot of work. And then you think, oh, finally they'll be able to talk to me and we can spend time together. And then you realize, the weight of all of that
Mhm.
additional stuff is a different animal entirely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What has been helpful for y'all in that, in parenting in this new phase of life?
Mm-hmm.
What's helped keep you sane? If there's no good answer,
Yeah,
that's
all right,
that's
well.
Well, I have a good
that's
answer.
acceptable
I just
too.
Wondered if you
Right.
had a good answer.
There may not be an answer. There is no sanity.
Yeah.
No.
I would say the thing that has kind of held us together in all of this is just walking through it with other people
Mm.
who are also in the same boat. And for us, that happens to be our life group friends.
Yeah.
But their kids struggle in certain things. They
Yeah.
struggle in certain things. We struggle in certain things,
Mhm.
and we can talk about it.
Yeah.
It's a big help.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Shout out to the Oaks Life Group.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seriously, that's one of the main things that I've noticed too in our life group over the years is, so how y'all doing? And inevitably, we're talking about parenting and
Mhm.
kids stuff, and yeah, it's helpful to share that. It's important because it can be something that feels very isolating.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you know that other people are going through similar things,
Mhm.
it helps.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Let's keep talking about marriage ministry stuff eventually,
Hmm.
and the fact that you are now on staff and our financial director. We'll go back around to that, but tell us what you do, Carl, and try to explain it in ways that we can track with, if you might.
I've done so
Include
many
that.
different things. So right now, easiest way to describe it is, and probably the way Crista would describe it, is I'm a data nerd.
I like it.
I've done cybersecurity. I've done lots of different, leading teams, things like that. But right now in my career, I do mostly with data, all kinds of different things, and just it's I've kind of gone in and out of managing teams and not at different times. Right now, I'm not, so it's enjoyable, but mostly data.
Therefore,
Yeah.
therefore, it's enjoyable.
Yeah, at that particular time, it kind of goes back and forth, as you know. But so I work for Lumen Technologies, and I kind of do pretty much a lot of different things that they just need done in that
Little
space.
projects that they're like,
Yeah,
hey,
so
we should sit Carl on this.
Yep, yeah,
Big
programming
projects.
projects,
Big projects.
just web pages stuff. You and I have talked about things like that. So,
Yeah.
kind of all over in that technology type space. So
I understand none of what he does.
I was going to say, we understood most of that, but in particular terms, were you speaking more detailed, we would probably not. I tracked the web page,
yeah,
website, yeah.
yeah, I do that as well. So it's fun.
So when you say data, like analyzing like gigs worth of numbers
Mhm.
and information that come in and names and what?
Yeah, I mean it's varied all over from, managing the performance of a network. Where I was managing, I wrote program to go out and get performance data on hundreds and hundreds of routers and servers and manage like 40 gigs worth of data a day. So I mean significant volumes.
And so you're writing the software that goes to get that data.
Yep.
And it's continuing to come in real time.
Yep.
Obviously, so you're understanding how to best whatever.
Right.
Whatever.
Right, and then
Okay.
looking at the performance and making adjustments in the network so that we can
Right,
correct problems.
In real time. That's cool. Yeah.
Close to, yeah.
Close to it.
Yep.
For us, that means something's not working around here.
Yeah.
Like next, we might get to it. Cool. So you work from home.
I do now, yeah. That's actually been a big transition for me because when we moved out here, I had never worked from home before. So
Yeah. How
I
did
do.
that affect everything? Because
It-
the home is a system, and
Yeah. Well, when we first moved here, Lumen has an office in Greenville, so I worked out of there. But when COVID happened, they kind of said, "Don't come in the office," and now my office at home is every bit as nice as what I had, so I've just stayed there, and they don't have any problem with that, so that's worked out well. As far as we go, it's had its moments. She sees a lot more of me than she used to. So
it's nice because there's a middle time before the empty nest thing eventually is what it
right.
becomes, which is another huge change.
Yes.
Yeah,
At least
yeah.
you've got that sort of preparation, we'll say.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's one way to look at it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, and we homeschool.
Yeah.
So we're there a lot.
Yeah.
We're all just there a lot, doing our own things, but we're in each other's faces a lot.
And I say all that because we're going to be the exact opposite. She's working full time in Johnson City. I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
When the kids are actually finally gone, we're going to be like, we don't know what this is. How does this work? We have never been around each other this much. Homeschooling.
Mm-hmm.
Have you always homeschooled?
Nope.
I didn't think so. Okay.
And one of the considerations that we had in moving here was we looked for good schools, and Greenville
Sure.
City Schools had a very good reputation.
Yeah.
And I worked for the schools for 3 years, 2 years at Eastview Elementary, and then 1 year from home
Okay.
for Eastview.
Okay.
It was a great experience, but after the kids were home with COVID,
Mhm.
we thought, you know what, we really like this.
Yeah.
I really like this a lot.
Yeah.
So it's nice because we can pick and choose our curriculum,
Mm-hmm.
and it just works well for our family.
How have the kids transitioned with all that?
Really,
Actually,
really
really
well.
well. Yeah,
They
they
were
really-
all on board. And we wouldn't have done it with everybody had they all not been on board.
Yeah.
We try to be really open when we make big decisions like
Sure.
that with the kids.
Yeah.
Even our move here, we talked about it for months before we actually took the plunge, which may have caused them more trauma. I don't know.
I was wondering some of that too, because I know in my growing up years, Mom and Dad would just suddenly say, "Hey boys, we're moving."
Mhm.
We're like, "We are?" Yeah, to like the other side of the country.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, okay, when? 2 weeks.
Wow. Yeah.
And it would just, happen.
Yeah.
And we are this way too. We're talk about it with everybody first and da-da-da. And I think some of that's different with just time and culture, and
Yeah.
families are different now.
Mhm.
But I wondered the same thing too. Does it create more
Yeah.
anticipation or expectation, or is it more difficult or less? Yeah. So let's talk about the two of you a little bit. Rapid fire, speed round.
Oh dear.
Speed round. Who is early morning, late night partier?
Early morning.
Early morning. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Love the morning. Mhm.
because it's
Because
you
it's
by yourself time.
peaceful. It's the birds are
Quiet.
singing. I love breakfast.
People are sleeping.
Usually. At least for the first hour.
And I've
But I've always-
transitioned to mostly early morning as well, over the years.
Yeah.
Has that happened more because you're home more?
No, I would say just, because she's always up in
Yeah.
the early morning.
I'm
and
up
I get
cracking
up.
the whip.
Yeah.
Carl, get up! It's time to go to work.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was always a problem for you. I found the same thing too, though, because I'm a late night partier. Like just naturally, I want to stay up. If people are awake, I want to stay up. 100% extrovert type. But over the years, my wife is very different than that, and so I just would end up getting up early. Yeah, it's funny how that equilibrium kind of happens in marriage.
Yeah.
It's cool stuff. I said speed round, but now of course I'm talking breakfast or
It's
dinner.
okay. Breakfast.
And why breakfast?
Breakfast, because it's morning. And I love morning.
That's good.
Either for me, it's just food.
If there's meat on the plate.
I'm happy, I'm good.
Okay, cool. I feel similarly. However, breakfast.
Ooh.
There's something for me about breakfast that I have this like romanticized idea of getting up early with all the old guys at McDonald's or Hardee's.
Yeah.
I don't know. For some reason, breakfast feels like it's men get up early and eat breakfast before they go off to study the Bible. I was going to say like
Yeah.
farm or milk the cows, which doesn't apply to me at all. So thinker or feeler? Most, if you had to choose.
Thinker.
Really?
Thinker for me.
Thinker.
Yeah, I think you're here as well.
So methodical, rational, and process it before feeling it.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on
Both
the
at the same
emotional
time.
response. Yeah.
I'm that way too.
If it's not an emotional response, I would, like something you have to deal with right away. Definitely think about it, think it through, and
Yeah.
data before feeling.
Yes.
But
Cool. Good stuff. So who's the fighter and who's the peacemaker? Oh, we're both just so. There's so much harmony.
uh,
Well, that's not true.
definitely
We've
not.
been through
Let's
re-engage a
unpack
lot.
that.
Yeah, I'd say definitely fighter for myself. It's been something that I've, we've spent a lot of time growing for me
Uh-huh.
is to not respond that way.
Right.
So definitely more fighter for me.
Yeah, I'm definitely more of a fighter too. To start out, let's do this right now, and we're fighting
No.
instantly.
Yeah, that's not what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to process, think about it a little bit.
What kinds of things in your marriage have been? I guess we're in the marriage ministry. They work in marriage
Yeah.
ministry here at First Christian. What kinds of things in your marriage have been areas or difficulties or struggles that you've had to learn to? Not exactly sure. I was going to say fight through, but I don't mean
Right.
fight. But you've had to learn to approach differently or come to more of a together on.
I think what we just talked about is one certainly for both of us. I mean, my way of handling issues, in our past has not been very productive. So, we've definitely worked a lot on that. And with re-engage has been a big piece of that.
Yeah. forces you to ask those questions and work
Right.
on it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right. And realize the impact of what you're doing.
I would say grace and forgiveness are
Mm.
the two big ones that we have really worked on, that have really resonated with us through the multiple times that we've gone through Reengage. And
That's what I say about everything around here. Well, I've only been through Reengage once, really.
Yeah.
But like when people are like, oh, I don't know about this program, I'm like, I've been through it 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
yeah, it's no big deal.
Bring it on. Yeah.
But yeah, the grace and forgiveness, just understanding that God made us to be different people,
Mm-hmm.
and that it is our job to respect that
Yeah.
and to glorify God
Yeah.
for that.
Yes, even through that, especially through that. Yeah, there are times I've thought, my wife and I are so incredibly, frustratingly different in some
Mhm.
ways. And I've thought, how on earth did this happen? Now, every marriage has versions of that.
Right.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah. But, you know, it really is about sanctification. It really is about growth. It really is about the two becoming one in that sense.
Mhm.
So when you say grace and forgiveness, what makes you say that? Meaning, like it's been something you've had to learn to do differently, better, or or at all compared to at first?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All of those.
Yes.
Okay.
I think having it broken down for us and actually studying
yeah.
it, saying grace is these things. Grace is extending humility.
Mm.
Grace is being able to see your spouse as a God-created individual and with intentionality. He didn't make a mistake in making him the way that he is. He
Right.
is the way he is because God made him that way, and I need to appreciate that.
What is wrong with him? Lord, please.
Yeah, I'm
help
not sure
me
how I'm supposed to
understand
take
what's
that
wrong with him.
response.
Yeah, yeah. No, well, that's what we all feel about these other people. And it's
Absolutely.
funny how the closer you are with somebody, the more intensely you experience those differences and feel like that in some ways. As if there's something wrong about that, but it's actually exactly how it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
I have said the same kind of thing about grace and forgiveness for us. I have, ironically, hurt more than anybody else in my life, my own wife. And yet, I've experienced more grace and forgiveness from her and through her than anyone.
I could say the same thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, what have you all learned in helping lead through Reengage? And,
I would say, so, kind of to expound on what she said about, multiple times we've gone through it. So we've gone through it as students twice, and then we led the last class. And I think I speak for both of us, we learned a lot more leading the class. It was exceptionally helpful. There's a lot of supplementary materials that we went through that
True.
we didn't
Yes.
see as
Yeah.
just students.
Yeah.
That was very helpful.
Because it helps you see what the goal is and where we're trying to head with it and how it all fits together.
Yeah, absolutely, and it also adds some more meat to everything that's being talked about.
Yeah.
It was very helpful, and we also, I would say, we did a better job of being more diligent about going through the material because we had to be prepared to answer those questions.
Yeah.
Yes.
And,
Yes, it's a little like anything
Right.
where you're leading it. Or I think about this with preaching, like I'm not allowed to say these things until it has been filtered through my own life, until it's preached to me first, right?
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to lead these people with integrity, whatever it is, whether it's preaching or Reengage.
Sure.
So you're going through this material and you're thinking, well, I guess this means we really better talk about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you feel that way, and
Yeah.
I think in this case, and we also went through a lot of the videos that were in there that we had never looked at before. There's a bunch of supplementary materials that
Yeah.
on the website that we hadn't gone through, and those
Yeah.
were helpful as well.
And therefore encouraged our class members to do the same when they were at home.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, because to ask people to do something that you've not been through, they can't follow someone who hasn't done it,
Right.
right? Like they're not going to trust the process. And when you can say, for us, this has been,
Right.
or something like that. And I think that's especially helpful in marriage contexts where sometimes people may be a little bit hesitant or sort of reticent to go as deep,
Sure.
as intentionally as the curriculum's asking you to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I think we could say we were definitely that way. We didn't do that the first time.
Right.
And I think we did a little better on the second, but certainly not as well as we did on the third.
Well, and I think we figured if we're humble, if we're honest, if we're being transparent,
Mm-hmm.
that will help other people to do the same.
Yeah.
And that's only going to help their marriage.
You're smiling. 'Cause
Well, I'm just smiling because one of the times we were like, yeah, we didn't even make it through all these questions. We had to come back and talk about it because so we had those examples as well. So
Yeah.
we were very open with how it went
yes,
to us.
yes, vulnerability. If you're going to actually apply it, is not. It's both ways and all
Mhm.
directions, and it's as much. Okay, truth be told, we only got to this much, or
Right.
the first time we did this, we didn't really go as far as the question's really asking us to,
Right.
or the implications of this. The first time we sort of avoided or distrusted because. Yeah, good stuff. Speaking of First Christian Church and ministry and etc., we have quite a few questions here that were asked of me to ask of you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's just jam through them, and I will backload some of the ministry stuff. What does a normal evening around the Larson household look like for your family?
Well,
Frivolity and games and
yeah.
laughing all day long.
Right.
Absolutely. Never a harsh word.
Yeah.
Everything's great.
No tears, nothing.
We so dinner at home, or 99% of the time, and we always have dinner at table as a family.
Big deal.
Yep. So
Big deal.
we've done that all the time we've had kids. So
That's great.
We continue to do that. So
Good.
that's definitely in there. We do have game nights, to kind of your question there. But kids, especially right now, even during the summer, Audrey's taking, summer classes and things
Sure.
like that. So there's a lot of that going on at night.
Mm-hmm.
And Crista continues, we continue to do Bible studies together with the kids. And so
Lovely.
some of those are in the evenings, but there's a lot going on, and the girls also play volleyball. So, and there's 1,000 practices, and it's just constant.
Yeah.
So
During volleyball season, we pack picnics and we
Yeah.
eat in the car.
yeah,
I understand.
I'm sure you can relate to that.
yes,
Different ball, different sport.
Too, so
Yeah.
all over.
Yeah.
Volleyball is the best sport, though. I just have to throw that in there.
Yeah.
So next question.
Yes.
Actually, I have to disagree with that. Hockey is. But,
We better move on. We don't want to get in a sports fight. I don't want to hurt your feelings. Because I got memes
Yeah.
and statistics at the ready.
yeah.
Really. I actually do. So, do you have any family hobbies you do together? Sounds like volleyball or games.
Yep.
What?
Yeah.
Yep.
Volleyball has been in our
Volleyball.
family for a long time.
Sounds
but-
like it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hiking.
But yeah.
We like
Crista
to. Well,
loves to hike.
I love to hike.
Yes.
The rest follow along.
Yes. And I will say that she has about 45 top 5 hikes
Yep,
that
I do.
she her list keeps getting longer even though it's a top 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
And East Tennessee is a great
Yeah,
place
it
to
is.
hike.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a good place to knock down your 45.
Yeah.
How did y'all get so good at baking delicious cookies? Your reputation obviously precedes you.
Yeah.
Well, I have always liked to bake, and about 10 years ago, I had to go gluten-free, and I relearned how to bake.
Yeah.
And my daughter Amelia just started really getting into it. The girls were always in the kitchen with me when
Cool.
they were little and
Yeah.
mixing things, and She just took to it. Audrey likes to cook. Amelia likes to bake. So we've got a good system.
Yeah, it
at
works
our
out really
house.
well. Except for my waistline, but other than that, it works out great.
You got to get Charlie on barbecue or something.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
What has been the most rewarding and challenging thing about leading and re-engage? You answered some of this before, but
Sure.
anything new to add to that? Most rewarding and challenging thing about leading in re-engage?
I would say that the most rewarding is just seeing the change that God
Absolutely.
produces in couples'
people.
lives.
Yeah.
And they might be little tiny changes, they might be great big changes, but just seeing God's work
Yeah.
and just being able to witness that.
Right.
It's been awesome.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Cool.
Yeah, the most challenging I would say was just making sure that we, going into this, you never know what you're going to say. You never know what questions are going to come out, and we had some difficult situations within the group, and so that was always on the top in the back of your mind about what was going to come out, and being prepared for that, and wanting to make sure that you've done something to help and give them the opportunity to see the information and just hope and pray that they use it in their lives, because
Yeah.
like I said, there were some difficult situations.
Yeah, and you have an understanding or expectations of things from your own participation in it twice,
Sure.
Mhm.
and you think, okay, this is how this is going to look, and this is how this is how it's going to go. But then, you can't plan for everything,
Right.
and people are going to say or do certain things, and you think, wait, that's not according to the script or my expectations, and so you're thrown in leadership all these. How do we adjust to that? How do we help this and yet still stay on track? Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Excuse me. Mhm.
It's sort of like it leads you as much as you lead it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely,
does, yeah.
definitely, yes.
Yeah, good stuff. If you owned a store, what would you sell?
Flowers,
Yeah.
Flowers.
flowers.
She's been a floral designer for a lot of
Oh,
years
yes.
and all
Yes.
kinds of things. She's
I
really
did
good.
know
That
that.
was
Yeah.
my first career love.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you were a florist,
Yes.
like you,
Mm-hmm.
baby's breath and all that
Oh,
stuff.
no baby's breath.
Oh, I only say it because that's about all I know.
Yeah. Yeah. She.
So I have already.
Baby's breath isn't a real flower.
Oh,
She's done all
Shows what I know.
the actual real flowers and the fake flowers and all kinds of stuff. It's amazing to watch because she can whip something up in no time. It looks amazing.
nice.
So whenever I have to go buy her flowers, I have to try and arrange it. She's like, you tried so hard. And then she fixes it.
I appreciate the thought.
Yeah, it's ugly, but thank you for trying. Yeah.
Why did you choose baby's breath? That's probably what she's saying.
Yeah.
It's not even a flower.
Right. Yep.
Okay. Cool. So if somebody left you a bunch of money, you'd start a flower shop,
I bet
Well,
you would. Yeah,
maybe.
absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
but only after you trained your replacement here and decided.
Yeah.
We've just started that.
Yes.
So what's the best way to spend a Saturday?
Hiking.
Hiking?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if you're going to say that.
Mm-hmm. What do you say?
I like working on projects. A lot of times, we have many projects around the house.
Yeah.
I enjoy doing that as well. So,
What's a project or 7 you've got going on right now?
well, none of our cars have less than 100,000 miles, so keeping them all running, that's
Mhm.
always a project.
Ah.
Yeah.
Since we've been here, I fenced in, about 1,100 feet of fencing, manually dug every hole. That was always fun. And then I built the barn and, stuff like that. So,
Yeah, tell us about your goats.
yes, we have.
The goats are fantastic.
That's our new
I've
project.
always wanted goats, like always. I've always wanted goats, and now we finally have them. We have 3 adults
Okay.
and 3 babies.
Okay.
One of the babies is 10 weeks old.
Hmm.
The twins are 8 weeks old. They are Peanut and Juniper and Rosemary. Those are the babies.
So you've just always wanted goats.
Yes.
And so you thought, let's move to East Tennessee and have
Get
some
some
goats.
goats.
That actually was a piece of it.
I was going to say,
yeah.
was this
Yep.
was this a part of the contractual.
It was, because
Date night discussion.
in Colorado, you really can't afford land. I mean, land is so incredibly expensive out there.
Right. Yeah.
And so the only way you could buy land is if you were out in the middle of nowhere, and which wouldn't work because we had to, school and everything else.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't an option out there.
But they bring us a lot of joy. They're
Cool.
very therapeutic
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
I can sit out there and
Yeah.
love them.
So, how much time does goat raising take?
Not much at all. Very
It's
easy.
actually a lot easier than
Mhm.
than you would expect.
I don't believe you, but go ahead.
The building of the barn and everything, obviously, all
Yeah,
that
he
takes
put a lot
while.
of work
But
in on the front end.
the
Right.
the 3 goats, when we just had the 3 cleaning the barn. I mean, you're only talking maybe 30 minutes.
Mhm.
A day.
A day. Yeah, we do it every day. But
That's at least 27 too many. I was
Well,
hoping you were going to say 5.
We,
Yeah.
we
Like,
rotate
it's just
it.
going out there and.
yeah, we do.
We
do
rotate it. All the kids have their days. We have our
Uh-huh.
days, and it's
Is it on
very
like
easy.
the Larson family
Mhm.
calendar?
Yeah, she has one. Yeah, that's the other thing. She's a list maker, a big time list. I always joke she has lists that control all of her lists.
I do.
'Cause she's very much a list maker.
Early on, early on in adulthood and ministry, seminary, coming out of seminary, got a list for everything. If they're all color coded, and I'm like, oh, this feels so good.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure your lists actually work, but at a certain point they just all exploded. And
Yeah.
and my lists of lists are I'm getting back into it though.
Yeah.
Good.
No, she's extremely organized and keeps us organized because of it. So I do definitely appreciate that. But
Yeah.
I do have to make that comment every once in a while. So.
Yes.
A list of lists. It's like churches that have a committee of committees.
Right.
Yeah.
A
Yes.
committee for committees.
Yes.
The committee? Wow, that's very complicated. So we have covered most of these things here, except we do have a question from Reagan Radink.
Ooh,
So
love
Reagan Radink, if you're listening,
Hi,
this is for you.
Reagan.
Would you rather go, and if you don't know who Reagan is, she is, how old is she?
5. She's going into kindergarten.
Okay, all right. 5 going to be 6. Someday soon going to kindergarten. From Reagan, would you rather go to the moon or pick flowers or go to dinosaur land?
So, well, I guess really for me it'd be the moon.
Dinosaur land sounds a little scary.
Yeah.
I just saw the trailer for the new Jurassic,
Oh, yeah.
whatever it's called.
Oh.
Yeah. I would love to see the dinosaurs, and I would, always curious about that kind of stuff. But the moon would be.
So the
pretty-
moon, huh?
Yeah. I think
You and Elon?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, last night when we were having dinner with him, we were talking about that. So.
Oh,
Right.
cool. All right.
And I would be content to just stay here and pick flowers.
I thought if you don't say pick flowers,
I'm
Yeah,
going
you
to
knew where
take
that
Reagan
was
out
going.
and pick flowers.
yeah,
with her.
that sounds like she would like you to. Good stuff. Good stuff. You all, in my mind, are one of our families around here who have done a great job of thinking intentionally about your serving at church as an opportunity to be with your kids. And so tell us some about what it's like for you all to serve in general. What has that done for you as parents, for them as kids? Just, talk about all that.
Go ahead.
So Charlie serves with me in tech,
Mm-hmm.
and it's great. I mean, he does a really great job, and just it's really nice because in tech you're there for all the services.
Yeah.
And so we're together the whole time, and it's really enjoyable. I really like spending that time with him every morning.
Yeah. Yeah, he does. One thing I've noticed about Charlie is, what is he? Did you say 13?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, y'all been doing it for a little while, a couple
Yeah.
of years or so at least.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
And I'm always impressed that he actually focuses on the job.
Right. Yeah, he's really good at that.
Like at all, it'd
Yeah.
be wonderful, but he actually stays with it. And in fact, he's one of the examples that I think of around here. Every once in a while, you just realize, holy cow, these kids actually pay more attention to the job at hand in some ways than a lot of our adults do.
Yeah.
I mean, and it varies in different ministry
Sure.
areas,
Mhm.
but part of, we talk sometimes about building leaders and servants from within from an early age. Part of that is because they are the most dependable and the most eager sometimes to do a good job,
Mhm.
because they're like, hey, these older people are asking me to serve in this significant way. I didn't have that as a kid at church growing up much.
Mhm.
I had to force my way into it a little bit later.
Mhm.
But I just think that's really cool, and I've noticed that about Charlie. He does a great job paying attention. That's important.
He's always been very interested in technology as well, so that's kind of perfectly fit with what he was interested in.
Yeah.
So
Well, and the girls, they serve with me in preschool.
Yeah.
They will also go elsewhere if needed. Like last Sunday, Amelia needed to be in the nursery. They needed somebody there, so she went. It is just a joy to watch them not only interact with the kids, but to teach them
Yeah.
the love of Jesus.
Yeah.
Because it just makes me realize they've got it too. Like they know in their heart that Jesus loves them, so
Yeah.
they can pass that along to these kids.
Yeah.
At least that's my hope.
Yeah.
And I want serving in church to just be normal
Yes.
for them.
Agreed.
This is what we do.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff.
And we did not have that kind of a culture
Mm.
at the church that we were at in Colorado.
Mm.
We did our things,
Yeah.
but it wasn't service together in any way.
Yeah. Cool.
So, yeah, we love it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's great to see you all do that, and I sort of pine for more parents to see Sunday mornings as an opportunity to do that with their kids in ways that they're not going to have. Frankly, a lot of them don't have chances to do that, or they don't take advantage of that in their lives throughout other parts of the week,
Yeah.
or it's not well integrated into their life otherwise. And so I think one cool thing about seeing that with y'all is I think that it does become natural and normal for them to be servants at church, but then in the rest of their lives and throughout the rest of their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a part of them becoming like responsible, producing adults who like, this is what we do.
Yeah.
This is what we do.
that's
So-
what we're hoping for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And yeah. I keep thinking that about some things with my own kids too. Like, I sure hope that shows itself to be what I was hoping. And in lots of ways we see little steps. Yeah, sure.
Well, I think before we came here,
Yeah.
we never thought of church as a place to be a producer,
Mm.
only a consumer.
Yeah.
That was one of the first things I think that we learned when coming here.
So good.
Yeah. Couldn't agree
So
more.
good.
That next steps class, man,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it
That
really
was it.
sunk it in.
That was it. When it was 4 Sundays.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. It's been a while.
So you are our financial director.
Mm-hmm.
What has been cool and helpful and good to see about coming on staff and working with Beth Ann and all that kind of good stuff?
Well,
What's the experience been like?
it's really been positive. Beth Ann is so organized. She is.
Yeah.
She has really held my hand through this whole process, and I'm so grateful that she was able to stay on with me,
Yes.
so that I wasn't just kind of left to do it on my own.
So am I.
Yeah, she's
I'm
been.
not sure what we would have done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's really been great.
Yeah.
I have loved the staff meetings, staff lunches. That is not something that I was expecting coming in.
What wasn't?
That there would be that much time all together as a staff.
Yes. Yes.
I had a little bit different impression at first, that it would be, me doing my thing and you all doing your thing, and
Right.
I'm just being able to kind of see the inner workings of ministry has been great.
Because it's been more time together than you thought, and less sort of siloed and specific about you're doing your thing, and they
Right.
don't really,
Yeah, everybody's asking what everybody else is doing. Everybody's
which
you
is
know,
wonderful
giving
and terrible all at the same
feedback.
time.
Yes, but
Yeah,
yeah,
that's interesting. Good. I'm glad you've seen that, because I do think that there's more of time together and just kind of integrated staff time than most people are aware, because you know you can't see it on Sunday morning.
right.
Yeah. What's been most challenging about? And
Well,
you're what, a weekend
Yeah.
maybe to have a weekend officially being by yourself,
right,
if
yes, yeah.
that. Yeah.
Working with a majority of men has been challenging for me. I have
Here we go.
I'm not saying it's bad, but that is nothing I've experienced before. So just the difference in the camaraderie.
I'm glad you chose that word. Yes.
I mean, I see the same thing in my son, the way that he interacts with his friends
Yeah,
versus
yeah.
the way the girls interact with their friends.
Yeah.
It's just a whole different animal.
Yeah.
So that's been
More ribbing
Yeah.
and joking with each other and poking and prodding and
yeah,
Yeah.
less niceties, less smiling.
yeah.
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 But it's been good. Less drama. I mean,
That's right. Let's talk about some
that's a
pros.
perk.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some pros
much,
to that.
Much less drama. I think the position itself
Uh-huh.
is a little bit larger
Then you
than
sort of
I
conceived.
thought.
Yeah.
It's a little more than paying bills.
Meaning there's
Um,
much more involved, even in practical terms.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Yes.
gotcha. Yeah.
But like I said, Beth Ann is doing a wonderful job of making sure that I know what I'm doing
Yeah.
and that she is a resource for me going forward too.
Yes, which again I'm super
Yes.
grateful for.
Yes.
Yeah. Good stuff. As a staff spouse for the last 5 weeks or so,
Yes.
what has she said about being? No, I'm just kidding. When she comes home, what does she really say? Carl, tell us that.
I think you just heard it.
Those guys.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
You're terrible.
That's funny. That's funny. We do joke around
Yes.
a lot. Yeah, a lot. Good stuff. We like to end on a couple questions that we basically ask everybody.
Okay.
And the gist of it is, what's the Lord teaching you lately? And what are you excited or encouraged about?
You wanna go first? The Lord lately has been teaching me to be patient. I'm kind of a patient
chuckle from
person.
Carl.
I'm kind of a patient person anyway, but just to trust Him and be patient and know that His time is different than my time, and I can't try to fit Him into my schedule.
And I chuckle because I'm in the exact same boat. You know, with our, you know, we talked about teenagers all the time, or however you put it. You know, learning a lot. And
Yeah.
my default setting is not patience. So that's been a big challenge for me individually.
Because the schedule being slower or more difficult than we want it to be means we have to simmer through those hard parts more than we want. Is that
Yes.
the gist of?
Yeah. And
Well,
then-
I think especially for Carl, he wants to fix things.
yeah.
You know, he's a guy, he wants to fix things.
Yeah.
So when things can't be fixed really quickly, we need to lean on God more.
Yeah.
And I guess He's teaching both of us that's what we need to do.
And as she talked about, you know, in your staff, the less drama. That's not the case at home always. So I also have patience issues with that as well. So.
Yeah. Yeah. It certainly is true that parenting and marriage are growth processes.
Absolutely.
And God designed growth processes. Yeah, for
Mhm.
sure. I concur with all of that.
I bet.
So what are you most excited and encouraged about?
I would say on the flip side of that is just that I'm excited to see what God has in store for all three of our kids.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably completely different than what we've got in our heads.
Right.
That's already kind of proven to be true over the last few years, even.
Yeah.
That who knows what He's got in store for them.
And adjusting yourself to
Yes.
being okay with that. And,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, and just, I from a more functional perspective, just excited to see what the kids can do. I mean, they constantly just absolutely blow me away with the things that they know, and
Yep.
I mean, just all the things they can do kind of sometimes just shows how dumb I am. But
It's funny.
it's
It's funny
incredible.
being this age now,
Yes.
Yeah,
where you look at your kids and you go, "Man, at your age, I was
right. Yeah, I
not
couldn't-
talking like this.
Right, it's
Didn't know
incredible.
these things."
Right, and
Yeah.
the things that they're able to do, and
Mm-hmm.
just kind of expanding on that and seeing what that'll look like in the future. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's already pretty incredible.
Good stuff. Well, thanks y'all for coffee convoing with us,
Mhm.
Yeah, thank
Yes.
you.
and glad you're a part of us, and that the
I'm
Lord
glad to be
led you
here.
here.
We're glad to be
And,
here.
Keep producing producers.
Trying.